I have a black screen. That's not a good sign. Let me see if I can fix this. Hold on. Properties. Working? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Working? You guys hear me? Can you see me? Nice, nice, nice. Okay, yeah, I have it up on my phone here too, so it looks like we're good to go. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Uh Robinhood. Look at this guy. Great move. I think this is news. Um I was in Robinhood back here, and you know me, early, always early. I got faked out right in here on the breakout of a view out from the all-time high. Uh, Created a new H minus. We major pullback and then bounce. Those are pretty short-dated puts. They actually expire or calls. They expired tomorrow, so I kind of puked out of them in the first candle this morning. I took a small gain on it. They're now worth. They would have been a significant gain at this point, um, but that's how it goes. Let's see here. Yeah. So I sold them for 450 a pop, but I had a lot of them, and they were well underwater for a while. So this one was a little bit more about rescuing the position than taking the gains there. But I did actually also add another hood position on Tuesday. So and I added to it this morning on the first pullback. So we're gonna take some gains here on hood, and we're gonna hold hood. I think you're gonna test all-time high, probably even gonna test this H plus. This is a bit of a Momo. This is, people really like this guy. So the position's already up 34%. It's not as big as I would like it to be, but you know, that's a that's a nice win already considering and having rescued my other position. So I take this as a big W in my book. Um, Amazon. I was in Amazon yesterday as well, and I'm still in Amazon. This is the gap fill. Took an entry in here somewhere on a pullback. It wasn't anything special, but I think it was like right here. I originally started considering it here, didn't get in, saw it go, said, okay, there's no pullback, but at least there's some. I started to like DCA into it with multiple contracts. So I'm sitting on about 7 contracts, decent size, yeah, like a half size position, but those contracts are up 41%. So doing very well there. I have an NNE position and I have an OCLO position. They're kind of not really participating like I would like to. I think semiconductors, although they're having a good day, nice gap up. There was a lot of news on that yesterday, so unclear how that's going to shape up for nuclear. There's some time on these. They go to next week, so they're a little underwater while being in the money yesterday. A little unfortunate, but we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully, we don't have to go through something I went through with Hood. Still a nice large XYZ position. I like this one. It's underwater here. My cost basis is about $85. We have earnings coming up. I'm going to be holding this through earnings. It's today, so we will see how that goes. I actually am short the market. I have some Leap puts on that I put on Monday. They're underwater a little bit, but they're Leaps. They go out till the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes. Half size position, full size position on UPS, which is kind of giving me some heartburn here. But I like this short. And so for this one, I'll be looking to see it hold the 8, see it hold the A view out from earnings, and retest the low. If not, down to this L minus. And if we can get that, then we'll get a nice profit there too. So in this market, you got to be willing to trade both ways. Definitely. It certainly feels like that. So it's getting a little choppy in here. It's a little bit late in the game. QQQ is nice and strong. Look at that gap up. And SPY also finding some support, but you can see the difference here in when you're looking at VIX. VIX is a little jump up there on the move pull back, but it's coming back down. The mags are moving up, which tells you that the mags are strong after a nice gap up, no gap fill attempt. Whereas RSP, a little bit weaker, and you look at SPY, kind of correlates, right? You can also look at IWM, same story, right? So we're going to see if IWM can retake VWAP, but semiconductors are up, tech is up, comms is not made significant moves, and that is reflected here in Google, in Microsoft, in Meta, right? Consolidated in here. But Meta's definitely consolidating, looking for that next like higher to retest this level. So you could probably set an alert here and just see what that looks like. But it's even kind of futzing with its AVWAP all-time high here, right? It's using it as support this morning. So, this market is pretty strong here, especially with the Qs doing this. You can set an alert at all-time high for Qs. See what that looks like. Right here. Oops. Just set an alert. 674.70-ish, could say. 65. But yeah, the Qs are nice and strong. And what are they being driven by? Likely Amazon. Looks great. Likely Apple. But Apple has a lid here on 200, so I traded Apple here as well. I got in Apple here. It was above the AVWAP from all-time high. Had a little bit of a pullback. I was a little concerned that maybe this was a little bit of a fake out breakout, but I was looking for just exactly this, right? The test of the 200. So I actually got out earlier today on like the second candle here. Took a nice gain on that one. We're having a good week. Things are going pretty well. So, but yeah, hopefully everyone else is having a good day, good week. Chocolate, how we doing? Timar, Bubbles, Donkey, Micho. What's going on, guys? Welcome back, Red. Yeah, we do got the Nightbot going now. I added that in just to see if it could be helpful if people had questions or thoughts around that. So I think it has the Discord capability. I don't know what else it has. Let me check real quick. Commands. It's got that. It's got the YouTube link. Yeah, nothing crazy. If you guys think there's things that need to be added in there, let me know. I don't know what this is. Yeah, so we'll figure that out with Nightbot, but hopefully that'll be a little helpful. Yeah, so this market, awfully strong, considering this pullback off the news, considering everything that we know that's happening with tariffs. Yeah, what can you say? Begrudgingly, you have to be long. At least you got the pullback, though, right? Not having any pullback was definitely starting to weigh on the psyche a little bit in terms of, should we continue here to layer into longs? And I really think that the market and institutions said, well, fuck it. Like, we've been just buying this up. We held this consolidation in here. We tested some of these levels in here. If we look at ES as well, some key levels that are coming in. You have, the 50 is quickly moving up though, so keep that in mind. But yes, definitely testing a lot of these different key levels that we start to see form in here. And, are we going to get a new all-time high again? I don't know, but if you got Apple picking it up, that's been lagging. If you got Amazon picking it up, that's been lagging a little bit. Well, not lagging, but pulled back after earnings. You got Nvidia still just flying higher. I think it's dinging right now. Yep, sure is. What does that mean for the market? It means this market is stupid strong. And so mainly you're looking long, and you're looking to retest the all-time high at this point, especially with how strong this is. And look at, we thought, okay, big gap up. You add the AV up from yesterday on SPY. You thought, okay, maybe we would get a gap fill attempt back down to like 630, I don't know, somewhere in here, 633 or something. But no, not even that. And the Qs are just driving us higher. So we'll manage some open positions. We'll see if there's some new ones that we can look to take. 42% on Amazon right now, 40% on Hood. Yeah, man, it's looking like a good week. So. What was this AVWAP? One standard deviation. This is from way back. Previous relative high. I don't really love it. But yeah, Amazon threw a little entry here potentially. A view op test. Definitely, I was almost about to add, but I couldn't get a fill. Um, is there another ad here? Maybe. I mean, the way this market looks, it looks like it could just keep flying higher. It did hit the third standard deviation already this morning on QQQ, so now it's testing VWAP and it's pulling back pretty significantly. Amazon's holding up. What about Apple? Apple, not so much, but you have that lid, so I think it's a little bit harder to say, yeah, this is gonna just fly off the handle. And we really like Hood, and so it was a good add in here. Doubled the position because it was a pretty small size position. So we'll keep an eye on this one, but also hitting the third standard deviation. You either take profit here or you wait and you say, yeah, I want to keep riding this to see if it's going to go higher. Oh, let's see. Can you guys hear the music? Hopefully it's not too loud. Let's look at the market. Pretty darn green. Lilly must have missed earnings. A couple in here that are, pretty red. Airbnb was another one that had bad earnings. FTNT getting absolutely crushed. It looks like it's dragging the infosec sector. Some healthcare things also dragging a little bit here. So this is a great time to really identify your relative weakness, right? And confirm it. I was in a CRM position that I dumped out of yesterday for a tiny loss. And it looks good still. Look at this thing. So weak. It would have been underwater because I dumped out down here at this point for me. But, what did you want? You wanted to retest the 8. You wanted the 8 to catch up. Well, you pretty much got that this morning. CRM is still a great short. So we're going to add it to the... Oops, wrong one. My fingers almost instinctively said CRWV. Also looking like a potential short, right? Don't like that it's above the cloud. I sold puts on this actually a while back and then pretty much broke even on this move here. Or I can't remember. I might have taken a small loss. But that's kind of how it is if you're in some of these positions, right? I don't know why that alert just went off, but what we will do is set an alert at the bottom of the cloud. So if it does break down back through here, then we will look at it as a short, which obviously coincides with all-time high or with this relative low AV up. This is a newer stock, so you got to be aware of that. Cool. What else do we got going on? So let's look back at SPY, pulling back from the high day. Now going to test the low a day, looks like, or at least one standard deviation. Qs are still strong, and let's see if Amazon's holding up. Sure is. Maybe even an opportunity to add. Hood doesn't even give a fuck. Looks great. Tesla. Tesla's been on a little bit of an interesting move here. What do I have on Tesla? Big L plus that was tested on Friday the 1st, which also tested the 100, also tested almost the bottom of the cloud here. You have a big H minus coming in as well from all-time highs. Right? So what do you have going on Tesla here? You got a big old wedge forming here. And it really looks like it didn't want to break down through here. What did I do yesterday? I day traded Tesla up to the SMAs and got a nice move there. Nice little win. I think if you guys saw what I posted in the Discord, it was a base hit, right? A single, 20% return on an options trade. Exactly what we're looking for. Is there room for Tesla to continue here? Absolutely not. You need to see it break through the 200 and the top of the cloud with conviction in order for you to care about Tesla. That's the way I would look at it. AVGO, another nice one with a great move. We see that the NVIDIA has been strong this morning, and it would only make sense at AVGO as well. Look at this breakout. You saw some of it yesterday, breaking out through this H minus. It's just been doing well since its previous earnings. It has earnings in 30 days. You have all these AVOps that you can consider in here. AVGO has to be on your list of ones that you're looking at. I traded AVGO a little bit in here. I had some shares position in here closer to like, I don't know, 290 or something. But this guy's a little bit of a slow mover. Also, potentially a good LTI stock. So keep that in mind. Speaking of LTIs, did you guys buy Walmart? If you didn't buy Walmart here on Monday the 4th, then I don't know what you were doing, because this is a perfect trade in terms of the wiki. Big H minus breach, on volume, right? You can see it in the volume candle as well. You could have waited for a little bit of a pullback. This is an adding opportunity. You held this level, which is corresponding with horizontal. Boom, next level. Either way, just the way the economy is, the way everything's going, there are a few companies that are not ever going to go anywhere, and Walmart is one of them, right? Biggest employer in the United States, has a brick and mortar presence all over small and middle town America and large America, right? Walmart is still a great pick. The 8 is it's pretty extended from the 8 at this point, but looks really, really good. Let me get rid of this. Let me bring this back. Looks good. Let's save it. Cool. So yeah, you really gotta like Walmart here. And in terms of what did Spy give you here too? Like this was like an opportunity, I think, and I was telling Isidore this. This was an opportunity to really consider. Hey, if you don't have an LTI, you really need to consider starting one, because this market is always just up to the right. It will continue, and if you're just waiting, trying to buy the dips, buy the dips, buy the dips, great. That's exactly the right mindset. But this was a dip. And if you didn't at least buy some VOO or SPY or whatever variant of SPY that you purchase, one share on a dip of 1%, you know, it's a missed opportunity, because you don't know if this is just going to go like this now, or is it going to go like this? And if it does, then great. It dips again back down here, I'll buy it again. If it dips again, I'll buy it again. I'll just keep buying as it pulls back, right? When there's blood in the water, that's an opportunity for you to make the money, right? So keep that all in mind. All right, Hood's getting a little pullback. Amazon now is pulling back as well, so kind of interesting there. And it's likely because, yep, here we go. QQQ now testing view up stronger than SPY, but look what SPY's doing. SPY is now finding a new low a day, which is on par with what we expected. The attempt for a gap fill. Okay, and look at how strong Hood is, right? I mean, shit, I might add one more to Hood because it's such a small position. We'll add two more. Small size. Let's see if we can get a fill. I don't even know if we will. It's so strong. Amazon a little bit weaker with the volume coming in here. What levels did it hit? So it hit the 20 here. Unclear if this is, really any sort of resistance. So we'll keep an eye on it. But you still have this gap fill potential. So, let's see what happens. Let's see if we get filled here. Do you guys keep track of unusual options flow? I know Ali sent a couple over, so I just got filled on that. Nice. On Hood, so we'll keep an eye. I really think you have to keep an eye on unusual options flow. It puts things on your chart. It's basically another scanner, right? UNH just popped up with a huge put buying. Well, sure looks good to me. We know that UNH has been great this whole time. Well, what can you do? You can throw an AVO op on here. It looks like you already threw it. Is there a world where you retest down to here? 237. I don't know, but if I had to guess and I look at the chains, I bet UNH is probably pretty tough to catch here in terms of, I mean, Salesforce still so good. Maybe that was the entry on Salesforce. We'll see. Affirm, great, a great long here, breaking through multiple H minuses. Let's pull up Salesforce again. Yeah, I puked out of those, but let's see if, I mean, they're still below where I dumped out. It was just, I guess, a bad entry. UNH, you got to wait here for an entry too. Could it retest the 8? Is the bare minimum. VWAP would be ideal, but you would need to see the market kind of pick up some legs here. All right, so Hood pulling back even a little bit further. That's okay. And here we go. Same thing with Amazon, but it's holding the 8. Looks good. Holding the 8. Looks good. Let's see what SPY does here. Testing AVWAP yesterday and a day, which is usually, potentially support, but we know that the gap fill is still potential, so we're waiting here. But this is potentially an opportunity to get long on things if you found something that you like. And if we think from a macro perspective, what's going on around the world? we know that there is the big opportunity for a rate cut. I think the UK just did a rate cut this morning. I mean, you have to look at that and say, yeah, there is a serious chance of a rate cut to come in. I'm going to add some more to Robinhood. Why not? See if we can get a real low fill here. What's SPY doing? All right, so you're losing AVOP. All right, we'll wait. We'll wait. Here's what we'll do. We'll try and snipe an entry here, like a real, like here at the 8 or below the 8. Cool. Let's see what the account's looking like. Yeah, we got some pretty big like open positions here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. Look at this hammer coming in. There's no way I'm gonna get a fill here. I don't think. All right, got a small fill. All right, and that's how you do it. You just keep adding, but not much, to some of these positions as they're winners, right? These are good. These are good, nice breakouts. As the market's doing this, as it's pulling back, even though we had the gap up, let's see what QQQ can do here. Not even testing the AVOP from yesterday, so you can see the strength. Let's look across at the mags. Mags are below VWAP. You could do the same thing here, though, right? You could throw on that end of day AVOP, see what that looks like here. And you could see, is it holding up? It certainly is. Look at that. You could do the same thing for RSP, but RSP is breaking down a little bit more. So let's look at all the sectors, and we can do a little sector analysis. IWM is going with it. Semiconductors are now below VWAP. And so let's look at NNE and Oklo. They're still hanging around, right? I still think that these are good, and they're holding some key levels. Need the market to continue to get a little bit of tailwind, or the sector to pick up a little bit. So we'll see. Financials pulling back, gap fill already. Healthcare getting crushed. Consumer staples, no gap up, but we'll see. Energy gapped up, but now pulling back, is testing the gap. So we'll look at some energy stocks too. It's kind of an interesting place. Comms, like we said, lagging tech, and look at tech here. Now bouncing, trying to potentially get back above VWAP. So we'll see what that looks like. Let's jump back over here. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick, just for the heck of it. I think there was some news this morning in terms of some of those, and that's why Hood is going bonkers the way it is. Yeah, I mean, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin even abides by TA. Look at this. Pull back here after this consolidation. Obviously horizontal in there that you have to account for, like right here somewhere. You could even set an alert there and just be like, all right, give me a heads up. You could set an AVWAP here because this is all just mathematical. And look at that, we're approaching it as well. And then what did you see? So you had this pretty tight consolidation in here from like 116.50, 116.500 to almost 120. And then you had the 50 coming up. And what did it do? It pulled back all the way to the 50. And what did it do? It bounced. And look where we're at. That's a VWAP, or that's a SMA bounce that we talk about all the time. Looks pretty good. All right. So we know PLTR, that piece of junk, had really good earnings. I mean, you can't not think that this one looks good. Broccoli also shouted AMD, which had its pullback yesterday because of earnings, but now bouncing in the gap. Testing AVWAP here from, I don't know, whatever day that was. Throw another one on here, which is pretty much exactly where we're at. Doesn't look bad, Broccoli. NBIZ, I don't know what that is. I think that's another semiconductor company, or is that Nabisco? Nebius. Tech Services, it's an AI. Yeah, AI company bouncing off of earnings. Looks good. Yeah, we're in earnings season. Look at this consolidation. Maybe even something here with like trend lines. Obviously, previous all-time highs up here, so you gotta keep that in mind. We could throw an AVWAP on up here, though. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice breakout. Really nice. And then APP as well was the other one. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I think there was someone in the Discord that puked out of this last night after hours and got crushed. It sucks, man. That sucks because it is now a phenomenal breakout. So add it to the list. Lemming stock, bull. What do we see here? We see a big pullback through the SMAs, bounce off the 200, back through the 100. You're in the cloud, so it's choppy. You have a big H minus now that's coming in, and you have all these AVOS from all-time highs. What can you do? You just set an alert here, probably, and then see. Set it and forget it. Timar says ISRG. What's going on, dude? How's your trading been? Yeah, nice short here. This guy's been dumping out consistently. Looks pretty solid. Not bad. ADP was another one that I was looking at, but look at that. It's holding this trend line, and it's bounced higher, so it's off the list. You can set your alert down here and forget about it. CNC, this one's continuously, after their bad news, been a dump out, and, you know, it's continuing down. ANET, nice big bounce yesterday after earnings, or the previous day. Definitely interesting. We talked about Affirm. VST, earnings today, big bounce, despite the pullback on what looked like bad earnings. Was that this morning? Let's see. VST, I don't know. It must have just been in line with the rest of the market. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it was this morning. So bad earnings, and then look what it did. Just completely bounced back. Like, I feel like every time you see a hammer on this stock, it's time to get in. Anytime you test the bottom of this consolidation or a key level, like, it's time to get in this stock. It is so heavily intertwined in the semiconductor space that you have to just buy the dips here. T-Rush has actually been pretty good. Starting to see some more consistency. Hoping to keep this level of trading for the next. Dude, that's awesome. Awesome to hear. Keep it up. Keep it up. I think this is a pretty tradable market. All right, so we don't love this from Hood. You had your pullback, you had the bounce, and what's the market doing? It's because the market keeps plumbing lower. Amazon, though, looks pretty good, and so CRM just continuing to dump out now would have been in the money for me. Yeah, maybe there's a world we just get back in this. Let's see. Looks so good. This one's a little bit annoying. All right, so we'll keep an eye on Hood here because we don't want to turn what has been a winner into a loser. I think we're okay. The hammer makes you feel not great, but let's see. And a lot of it has to do with the market. The market taking another leg lower below AVOP Q, or I'm sorry, AVOP from the end of day. But the Qs are so strong that they're just dragging this market up. And look at NVIDIA. Probably a end of day AVOP bounce. Was there an entry there? Not even end of day AVOP bounce. You're stuck here messing with VWAP though. We can just look at the, like, is there a day trade here? 183, 184 is probably about high a day, so we could just look at this. What's a 185 call? Lotto just look like if you got in early. 50 cents of juice in there. What's QQQ doing? What's SMH doing? Kind of bouncing. IWM kind of bouncing. What's that doing for Hood? Nothing yet. All right, I think there is something here. Could throw on a little spec guy here. Let's see. Yeah, I like it. Let's do it. I'm going with 185 calls. And we got to fill. Not a big position. We want to see it test this level, and just a little spec play, right? Little spec day trade, kind of a jump in fill here. Let's see if we can get, I don't know, 20, 30 cents. High day was 124, and we'll keep an eye on it. We don't want to see it break below this level. If we do, then, you know, we'll make that decision. But SPY just so weak, and now Q's maybe potentially following it. So maybe a little fake out there. We'll see. We will see. It's still NVIDIA. Yeah, that's ugly. We'll want to see it hold this level, basically. So we'll let me put in an exit for this, just in case. AVGO, Apple. So cost is an interesting one. Look at this. It's even potentially about to break the 50. I mean, seems like an opportunity here down here was to we were waiting for it to find support, finally found support with some of this volume coming in. You had a nice little pullback here. Like that was the entry. And I think you know, some people definitely have got in here. I think Izzy mentioned he started his LTI there with the share cost. I mean, it's a great place to do it. Cost is such a good company. Look at how much room there is up. Like shit, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy one share right now. And I'm going to buy it and I'm going to forget about it. Buy, market, boom, done. Pay yourself first, boys and girls. Pay yourself first. What else we got going on? Let's look at news, because I think there was some news this morning. Jobless claims came in. They continue to tick higher. No surprise based on what we saw with the jobs revisions. I mean, I think that those have been inaccurate for a long time, so I don't blame Trump for feeling that way. But I also think that he's a nutcase in terms of what his thought process is when he doesn't see a number he doesn't like. He doesn't say, okay, well, why is that happening? He just says, fuck it, just fire this person, right? And it's not that individual. Yeah, of course, she's the one responsible, but like those calculations have been happening like that for a long time, since COVID, since like even like, you know, for the years after COVID kind of like ticked off, right? Those things have been happening. So SMH still showing some weakness here. We really want to see it reclaim VWAP for this to be a trade that's actually going to work out. Otherwise, we're going to consider taking an L here. Hood, though, that really nice bounce, and so it was good that we added when we did. And looks like it's going to test this level. We want to see it test one standard deviation, and we want to see it. Let's go back here and just see what relevant. So like as you get up here and you see less and less in terms of, you know, where the levels that it could potentially hit, you have to get picky, right? So you saw some pre-market level there, and we can just go to 15-minute because it'll help. Definitely something here, probably something here. So maybe we just bump it up here, add an alert here, and we can add an alert here. And if we hit that level, I mean, any of these levels, those would be the targets, right, for Hood, and those would be the minimum, because we think that this is going to continue to test the H minus, or the H plus rather. So we'll see. Big hammer coming in though, which kind of corresponds with the other one. Corresponds probably with what the market's doing. If I had to guess, let's look. Yep, another leg lower. So this gap fill is on, right? It looks like we're going to get it. What does that mean for the NVIDIA trade? Not great, but it's holding that level. All right. And so now we got to start considering, right? If there was some things that you're in that were RS that you've already taken, or that you're in profit, you know, you need to make the decision. You know, what's this market doing? I mean, the likelihood of a gap fill after that gap up was really high, right? What is this one? One standard deviation off of AVWAP yesterday. All right, so we'll see what NVIDIA does here. Maybe that was a rash entry. I really like this hammer that came in, but c'est la vie. Cool. What else we got going on? You guys are a bunch of lurkers today. I'll go into the Discord. People like UNH, no surprise. There's still setups out there, probably going to be pretty nimble now. I agree with what Dan's saying. Unless you're willing to swing things and give it some serious room. Let's look back at CRM. That was the one that we like. We really like CRM, nice. But yeah, we really like that retest. There's a couple legs lower. You're in this gap here too. Is there a world where you get down to 243? I think it's very possible. So on a pullback, I'd look for a short on CRM. So we'll get the chains up just to have them. You want to give it some time. Earnings is in 13 days, so you could go out till next week, or you could go out till the 22nd, but that kind of screws with the theta and makes it more expensive. The ones I would like are the 250 puts, and I think that's what I was already in. And yeah, that's what I was in yesterday. So that sucks, but that's how it is. So we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see what the market's doing. Yeah, and so let's look at the map again. And it's probably a little less green. Certainly looks like it. And you can see the lagging in the comm sector, right? Tesla lagging a little bit. Let's look at ABNB real quick. I think it had bad earnings, so I think that's what we saw there. Yeah, tough earnings, big dump out. Pretty rough. Interesting. TLN was one in the energy sector. This is also related to the semiconductor space. Look at it's holding up nice on the 8. You're getting a little bit of a pullback here. Like you hardly get any pullbacks. You had a big gap up on whatever this was. I don't think this is earnings. But look what it's doing. It's testing the 1 standard deviation here. Like I like TLN a lot. You could start to build a position. It's quite expensive. The volume sucks. But this is more of like a long-term swing / hold. So something there. Okay, testing 1 standard deviation on QQQ. What is that doing for NVIDIA? A little bit of a hammer coming in here. Hood, nice view op protection here. Oklo still holding up on this level, which is good. NNE, kind of same story. We would like to see it retake a view op here. UPS finally showing some weakness, thank God. And XYZ holding up probably because this is a little bit of an earnings run up that we've had. This bounce off the 20, this bounce off this key cloud line here. Holding this gap here that was off the news that it got added to S&P 500. I mean, hopefully the S&P 500 knows something that we don't. But I like Square as a company anyway, so I would like to just hold this and see. And yeah, see what happens. See if we can retest some of these all-time highs. I mean, this company goes way back, right? Way back. So what could we do here? Let's redraw these because they're kind of a mess. We could put in one here. Looks pretty good. Okay, which kind of coincides right here with this cloud line, which looks pretty key. Right there. See if we have another one here. Okay, looks like it's already been breached on that gap up from S&P 500. We'll see if it's still relevant though because of that. Like that news, like does it really invalidate that? I don't know. You have a ton of H minuses coming in here on this guy, so I don't love it from a day trading or trading standpoint. I love it more from well, I don't love it in general. I like it more from a longer term hold position, but it is definitely showing some strength. Yeah, a ton of these H minuses coming in. So we will see. We will see. Okay. All right, so Amazon giving a lot of it back, but I think it's probably just the market. Yeah, it's the market. The market is trying to find support. Okay, is this support? Let's look at ES. What level is this on ES? Bounced right off 630, 63.75, which was resistance, the high day yesterday. So this is your gap fill, basically, right? You got your gap fill. Now let's see if this is really support or not. We're already at 2nd standard deviation on ES. You would expect it to bounce and maybe test the first, which it did immediately. Now it's pulling back, test this level again. It's really wanting to find out, is this support or not? And the Qs are now a little bit weaker as well, being dragged down by the mags. So that kind of tells you, you know, we can't be rushing an entry here. So like we did with NVIDIA, we like that it's holding up here. We like this tail that's coming in, but we rushed that entry. And that's okay. What can we do? It was such a small size, tiny position. You could add a little bit more if you want to get spicy with it. obviously we don't recommend these things, but it's a lotto. And my lottos are pretty decently sized, so this gives us a little bit of a better cost basis on this. And let's see. All right. Caesar, CMCSA, Comcast, nice and weak. Caesar, weak. Las Vegas Sands, not weak. Win. All right, and there's the breakdown on CRM. And there she goes. Unfortunate. Never, if I had just stayed in that trade, I would have made some money. But here we are. Caesar, let's look at this one again. Sorry, 1 second. I'm going to warm up my coffee. Caesars does look good. I don't think these trend lines are relevant anymore. What can you do? You can throw on some AVU ops here. Yeah, it looks real good. Nice breakdown. Like, this has been a good short for a while. Caesar, nice find. Kaorote. I always think your name is karaoke for some reason. I don't know why. But I do like the Rick and Morty PFP. Google picking up volume. Okay, a little bit of a bounce here. We see that this is consolidation. There's probably an an L plus here. That you have the all-time high coming in. I mean, I think you could just set an alert up here and forget about it because you're above some key levels. It's been making a nice move after earnings. Look at this hammer coming in from Hood. Looks really nice. Nice tail here. What's the market doing? Tailing as well here. So we need to see this hold for SPY. Otherwise, there's a world where we dump out on some of these positions, considering that they're already in profit and we don't want to see that evaporate. And so that's kind of what it is, right? You're not only managing the market, but you're managing your positions. And I think people forget that, especially when you're like really pigeonholed into, I only trade the TA. I'm not trading my P&L. Well, you have to trade your P&L. And that's what it means to trade best loser wins. Because when you're in a position, you use the TA, the PA to justify your thesis that the position still works. Like Hood. Yesterday, all through here, I was in Hood. This thing was down 50, 75%, and it was a big position, right? And today I rescued the position. And yes, I took profits in this morning that I could have taken much bigger profits, but to me that I also added in contracts that were further out, knowing that it was still looking good. The TA, the PA told me after earnings, hey, like you're okay to stay in this, as well as some of the flow, with the understanding that, yeah, I'm running out of time, and there's a world where I could have taken 100% loss on that, and that would have been a fat L. But it was more about being a good loser and finding a way to rescue the position. Let's see here. Micho, I got TRM, HPQ, KMX, and EMPH short. EMPH bitch, but holding 8 EMA. All right, let's look at the EMPH. EMPH. I mean, it's fine. You got to swing this though, right? There's no way you don't swing this. Because look, it bounced back to the 8, which is still trying to catch up. There's a world where it tests this low. You have to swing this. Good Nightbot. Good Nightbot. You like CRM? Nice. HPQ. I don't know what you see here. This sucks. I don't like that one. This is like just choppy garbage. There's nothing here. Thanks for the follow. Don't die. It's not good. But welcome guys. If you're new, thanks for popping in. Yeah. Personally, I don't see anything here. I think you're really plumbing for something here. Teamer really like Reek's pick deck. Let's look at deck. Really nice breakdown. Yeah, and so what does this tell you, right? You can trade both sides of the coin here, right? And definitely the short side with what we were expecting this morning, this gap fill. And look at this, we had a nice hammer coming in here, but still rejecting the first standard deviation. We want to see the market, get some legs again here, find support to make your longs viable. Nvidia's still hanging around. So look at Hood. You had your nice hammer, but now it's pulling back again. So it's like, okay, do I need to consider taking profits on Hood here? I don't know, because if this ends the day on a big bear hammer, that'd be pretty disappointing. Aklo's still struggling, but in line with what the market's doing. NNE is a little bit better. I kind of like NNE. This big red candle was definitely a little bit of a warning sign. This one as well, obviously. I don't expect a ton here. Probably expect just a retest of the first standard deviation, and I'll look to get out. And just take a single on it. It doesn't need to be a home run, right? UPS now at second standard deviation, so that's good. Block hanging in there. Cool. Yeah, dude, CRM, look at this. Let me look at the position that I had. Fucking puking little bitch. Ugh, that sucks. I would have taken easily a single on this, if not more, because I think it's going to continue. So yeah, CRM, nice trade if you guys are in it. Looks real good. Deck, really like this one too. So we got some really nice shorts lined up. Now it's about what's the market going to do. And then if it's not the market, it's what about my longs? And so we got Nvidia still hanging around here. We did a silly little ad to bring down the cost basis because we have a lot of contracts of this. So let's see. And yeah, these are lottos. They're going to expire tomorrow. 78 cents, so they're just down a little bit. Yeah, the market gets some legs here. Anything's possible. And so we can look here and check out some of the internals. Comms still dragging us down. This doesn't look great. Healthcare looks like shit. Let me just look at the overall position portfolio. Okay, coming back a little bit. Like to see that. Nice. Okay, not bad. So Amazon definitely given some back, which is a little bit of a shame because it was a good winner. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to weather any pullback here to see if it will continue to try and fill this gap? And I have enough time in these contracts that I can wait for tomorrow if necessary, but we'll keep an eye on it and see how it works. Hood's in a good spot. Everything else kind of just hanging around. So we'll see. Nice hammer, nice tail coming in here. What's Q's doing? Same story. Let's look at VIX. Yes, doing the same thing, holding this level. We don't care about Bitcoin right now. Let's look at the MAGs and VIX. Okay, so the MAGs are about to retake VWAP, it looks like. Let me clean this up so it's easier to see. Boom. All right, so there's where we can retake VWAP here on the MAGs. It looks like RSP is turning as well. Can we set an alert up here? All right, there goes the MAGs. And which one's dragging us higher? It's not AVGO. Apple's holding up a little bit better. It's not Tesla. It's not Costco. It's not Meta. Look at the hammer on Netflix. Netflix now finding support too. Another one. Microsoft maybe finding support. Is this a bull flag forming? Very possible. Google was the one that we said looks kind of good, and maybe it's Nvidia. Yeah, Nvidia back above VWAP, and so we added down there. Now that position is break even right now. Okay, if it can test first standard deviation, if it can retest high a day, I mean that will be a quick day trade winner. And look at Hood, looks good. Amazon's doing all right. Held one standard deviation. What is this AVWAP? I don't even know what this is. This goes way back. So we'll see. We need to see it pick up a little bit here. Doesn't look as good as some of these other ones. And so Q's still weak, still not really helping like we wanted to. This level of support is still being tested by SPY. So we'll see. And now it's a weight game. NRGV, 110K call buyer. Let's look at that one. We like DEX, so we're going to leave this one up, and we're going to add it to the list. Nice shout, Reeks. Nice shout, Timar, Micho, whoever called it out. I like that. HPLTR so nice. Yeah, I mean, it's just a grinder at this point, right? We know what this is all about. This is another one that, like, there's opportunity in here to buy shares. I was selling puts on it down here at 135, 140, 125 on these pullbacks. I mean, it looks so good, and we know that this company just has the ear of the government too, right? So, got to keep all that in mind. Key levels here. Yeah, this thing's an absolute just grinder. Cool. Great earnings, no pullback. The other one that had really good earnings that was a big opportunity to get into was Reddit. And Reddit, look at this, good earnings, big bounce next day. Tried to do a pullback here, didn't matter based on what the market was doing. I mean, you really gotta like Reddit. So we'll add this here as well. The longs and the shorts are really like making themselves known at this point, which is nice. It gives you a good understanding of what the market's doing. Jay just pounding UNH over and over. That's nice to see. This is perfect, right? Even Lulu. Look, Lulu's great today too. These are gifts that keep on giving. I mean, they have to be on the list, right? But at this point, that probably missed it. Maybe UNH just a little bit more room to run, but not much. So I do have a team position as well. God damn dump out in shares. Yeah, this guy's beat up on my end, so I am bag holding this one. Sometimes that's how it goes. I feel like this market's probably still weak, at least on the intraday. Let's look at the Qs. I don't know, man. I don't know. It needs to get some legs here, though. So I was going to talk about time of day. Time of day is really important, right? Why is it important? Because in the morning, okay, big gap up, perfect example. We saw what happened in pre-market. We saw what happened in after hours. We had a big gap up. We're expecting a pullback. Well, at some point, it's going to find support, right? When that finds support, time of day starts to come into play, right? Because, okay, we're going to get some semblance of a bounce, and we're going to see how aggressive is this bounce? How aggressive are those call buyers? Or are the longs, right? Do they want to retest VWAP? Do they want to retake VWAP and test high day, right? Do we want to see if we can do like a murder V and see how strong this market really is? Well, once you see that happen, right, you can start identifying what kind of trade you're looking to take. From here, you're looking for a long off of something that held VWAP, basically, right? And you would say, okay, as we see this move back up on a day trading standard, I'm going to see how SPY and QQQ react to VWAP. Once I do that, you would hope that a stock like NVIDIA is going to retest high a day because it's been strong this morning, right? Hood, another example. Look at this guy. Absolute beast. Amazon, you would hope, would do the same thing, right? I would say the D1 on Amazon not as great, and a lot of it is because of fundamentals, because of the earnings. But anyways, but Hood and NVIDIA are perfect examples, right? You could take a day trade on these fairly easily to look to go to high a day because of what you're seeing here from the market, finally finding support. This is a sign for an entry. And so if you're new to RDT, you say to yourself, well, the market's below VWAP, I should be looking short, right? Because that's the standard of what we say to new people, right? Below VWAP, look short. Above VWAP, look long. And there's some nuance associated there. But what you're really looking for is you're looking for relatively strong stocks as the market is making a pullback, which is what we like. We like to see pullbacks, right? And we knew that on a gap up, we were likely going to see a gap fill. So exactly what we thought was going to happen is happening. Now we're saying, okay, support's coming in at a key level, which was 697, 6375 rather. Can it retest this level, right? Which coincides with VWAP. Set an alert here on ES. Right, 6396. Well, we're getting a nice bounce here. It's being led by the mags that we said mags were a little bit stronger here. It's being led by the stronger stocks like Hood. That was a great entry. I think someone else called that out too. Yeah, just a lot of opportunity there. And so that's how you identify, right? How can I find a trade, a day trade in particular, that coincides with time of day? Now look at this, rejection of the 8, rejection of the 8. Are we going to take a leg lower? We might. Hood's still good. Amazon, though, not great. Did I have an Amazon? Let's see here. Did I add on this? No, not this morning. I didn't. We don't mind it. We need to see these levels hold. We need to see AVOP Q hold or AVOP end of day yesterday hold. We need to see SPY hold this level. Otherwise, I'll look to exit Amazon. But we still like Hood. We still like Nvidia. I mean, shit. Buy 5 more of Nvidia. Let's do it. And you also need to wait for the candles to finish, right? Because we could be getting a fake out here from the market. Could just hold these levels and not care. I mean, dude, Hood, what a monster. What an absolute monster. So it took out that first level that we set an alert for, which kind of coincided with 1 standard deviation. Now let's see if it can take out 2nd standard deviation, this pivot point, and continue higher. All right, UPS still looks great. I love the bearish hammer that's coming in here. Like, is there an opportunity to add here maybe? Potentially. My position's underwater there. Significantly underwater. I had a bad entry. I was an entry down here. But like CRM, there's no reason why I don't hold this, right? Look at CRM, still great. Even though you had a bull hammer coming in, deck still good. Yeah, man, that's what it is to trade this market here. Great picks on both sides of the coin. A little ugly from the nukes. We would like to see that pick up a little bit. Okay, a little bit ugly from the market now. Let's see. And Hood does not care. All right, so I got to make a call on Amazon here. And I'll probably do that based on the market. Because with Amazon, there's always a world where you can just look for another re-entry on this. You don't want to see a bear hammer come in and then retest the SMA because that would basically eliminate all my gains. So let's go in here and we'll just set an order to close it. I mean, dude, you still have a hammer coming in. It's not bad. It's not bad. It wasn't really a gap up. Kind of. Let's just throw this on here just to see. I mean, it's right there. All right, we'll hold it. Hood doesn't care. Nvidia doesn't care. And look at the hammer coming in. So this is why we got to wait for these candles to finish, right? This is a pretty key level for SPY, for ES. Whether it's just because it was the high day yesterday or if it's because 633, I don't know, 25 or something is a key level. I mean, look at the tails that are coming in. There's something here in terms of support. Empire, what's going on, dude? Dude, you guys that have multiple names between the Discord and Twitch are really effing with me. And so what would you be doing here, right? So we just talked about day trading to the long side, finding support here, see if we can retest VWAP. And the strong stocks, you're going to just ride them until they, you know, and you're going to keep riding it as you get to VWAP on SPY. Well, transversely, if we got this bounce and we hit VWAP, you would like to see a stock like DEC or a stock like Salesforce make a pullback to the 8, to the 15, potential entry to retest low a day. And if SPY fails VWAP and retests low a day, well then guess what? You would assume that these do the same thing and or more. And that's how you get a pullback. That's how you get an entry, right? So yeah, consider that. Consider that. Man, let's look at this Hood position. I feel like it's doing really good right now. All right, up 32% again, and we did all those ads down here, so it's looking great. That's how you add. But the market does not want to cooperate right now, and that's okay. We'll see. This is what happens when you get a big gap up. You get a little bit of chop, probably a bearish trend day a little bit. Like, doesn't surprise me. And so what are you looking for? You're looking for your RS positions to hold up, and you're looking for your RW positions to take advantage. So we'll see. It's been, how long have we been going? About an hour. Even less because I was doing other stuff, or because we were not live right away. Treasury auctions, is there anything relevant here? Auction dates next week, so that'll be interesting. I would imagine they're going to be waiting, so probably not go great because of the hope that there's going to be cuts. And look at that, we're expecting a cut here. I think this is September 17th. Yeah, I mean, there's a world where we even do an emergency cut. I don't know. Economic calendar, we looked at this. U.S. productivity has gone up significantly, which is interesting because it was so much down. We'll see. Unit labor costs, I don't know what that means. I presume associated with productivity. Bostic speak later today. That'll be interesting. Jobless claims came in higher than expected as well. No surprise there. Then we get consumer credit this afternoon, which I expect to be pretty brutal. Aside from that, no other news. You have Bowman speaking on Saturday. Nothing you can do about that. And then earnings. What do we have the rest of the week? So we had Lilly open up, big miss. Celsius, I think, was good. VST, we looked at that one. We have TTD tomorrow, Rocket Lab, which could be interesting. Sound, another one of these lemming picks. SMR. So this is the one I'll have to keep an eye on for my nuclear trades. Maybe there's a world where I have to consider puking out. I didn't realize that was there. So, and then we have XYZ. So that should be interesting. Team as well. So a couple of ones that are really going to impact my positions. So I'll need to keep an eye out for those. Then Friday morning you have TEM, which is a good one from an AI healthcare perspective. Wendy's for all of you Wall Street bettors. Yeah, that's pretty much what we got going. All right, big tail coming in here, no surprise. Tail coming in here, no surprise. Let's see if we can hold this level. It just keeps probing this level. Tells me that buyers are interested here, but they're more like, let's just see if we can hold this level, see how interested sellers really are. So here's Apple again. Is there an entry for Apple? I don't know, but do we have an AVU up on the end of the day? If I put it on here, it wouldn't surprise me if that's where we're at. Haven't even tested down to it. Is there a day trade up to the 200? There very well might be. So let's pull up Apple chains just to see what that looks like. High a day would be 220. You're writing news here a little bit, which makes it a little less exciting. You could go out till next week to give yourself a little bit more leeway. 712 on the August 15th, 215 calls would be the high of day. So you got about $1 and some change in there because you're at 575 midpoint. Looks like it could retake VWAP here too. Let's look at the Qs that are selling off. So kind of interesting. Led by NVIDIA. Amazon too, continuing to puke out. So I think I'm going to probably just try and take profits here on Amazon. And then just let this, and then see if there's a re-entry. We'll let this candle finish. Apple, though, looks like the one that wants to kind of take off here. Right as we were looking at it. 215 calls. I feel like this is going to take off here in a second. Man, the market is weak though right now, right? And so the Qs are still putting in that shitty candle. So we got to consider to puke out Amazon here, and now Nvidia is making it tough too. So let's see. Giving a little bit back here, and that's kind of how it goes when you take these like pretty perspective plays. You got to be willing to accept the risk associated. All right, so the Q is now testing this pivot point and 2 standard deviations. This is probably about where you're going to see a little bit of a bounce on the Qs. Let's look at the mags. Definitely weak. Reset a VWAP alert here, even though we had a nice break out of it here. And you have RSP, super weak here as well. And let's look at the sectors. Yeah, I think we just wait at this point. Look at the semiconductors, and that's what's happening with NVIDIA here, right? Dragging us down. It's testing that 1 standard deviation, so we'll keep an eye on it. Let's look back at Apple. I mean, I see it here. I certainly see it. All right, we'll put it in an entry, see if we can get filled. And some of this is early, right? This is not exactly the best in terms of your, day trading in terms of entries. But I'm pretty aggro when it comes to entries, and I'm willing to accept the risk associated. So, let's see. All right, we got filled on a small Apple position. And what do we want? We want to retest the high of day. We want to retest. This is not a trend line that's relevant here. They don't go through these levels very well on TradingView. Probably, yeah, right here. That's where we want to retest. So we'll see. But we need the market to find support again now that we're below 1 standard deviation or AVWAP from end of day. Because if we continue to puke out, and so we can look at VIX continue to rise. I mean, definitely maybe this was a little bit of a rushed entry on Apple. So we'll see. But we see the strength. We know that there's news associated, and we want to see some of these levels being held. Otherwise, the obvious trade is to continue to look short. But how can you get short now at this point, knowing with everything that we have going? You're already at low a day, basically. You already did your gap fill. These are just going to continue to grind lower, the ones that are good shorts. You had to get your entry earlier up here on a test of VWAP as an example. Like, look at this high volume candle on Caesar. Tested VWAP. That was perfect entry. All right, Apple. Like to see it. And so we'll set a day trading order opposite of what the entry was, which was 265. They're now worth 275. And high day was 375. So let's just set it at 4 and see if we can get filled there. And if we can get a test of the 200, which is exactly what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for that, like, let's see here. Where is it? Where are you? There it is. We're hoping for the magnet up to the 200. That's what we're looking for. Hood, definitely giving it back. SMH, definitely giving it back. And look at that from NVIDIA. That's tough. It got the new high a day. All right, so let's look at these. These were lottos. So, and yeah, I accepted the risk associated with it. They're not down that bad, but definitely taking a beating right here. You're at second standard deviation, so I expect them to bounce a little bit. But we'll have to decide, do we just take the L on these because the market is not cooperating for longs right now. And so when you get a big gap up, I think the prudent way to look at this is you should be looking for a trade to the short side on something that's relatively weak. So like all these picks, like CRM, a little bit harder to understand because of this, but you could see it on the D1. But you see, obviously you want the relative weakness on the D1, but if you can get the pick that is dumping out at the beginning of the day as the market is trying to hold the gap, that's a perfect example. And so like deck here, high volume candle associated with VWAP test, not a big space here, or hasn't made as big of a move because a lot of the move was in the first, 2-3 candles. But this one's another one that, despite this consolidation in here, maybe, can you test this level down here? It's possible. And how big of a move is that? So if you gave yourself enough time in this and the market you feel is a little toppy, I mean, I like it. 6.5%. Like, I definitely see it. I found RDT a while back, but never really looked into it. I've always been busy buying companies I liked and held them. Now I want to test the larger trading. You need the wiki, but you just need time in the seat, dude. So welcome, but it's an experience thing. It takes a long time to get used to it. I day trade frequently, but I also swing trade, and I do this full time. So when I do stream, pop in, check it out, see what's going on. But the Discord is a great place to learn. And I recommend you start on paper so that you're not, paying too much for tuition. So yeah, like Chocolate said, read the wiki. That's actually what I don't have in Nightbot. I need we need like a wiki or like a, let's do that. New command. Wiki. Real day trading, and how do I get to the wiki here? Just probably a little hidden, kind of annoying. Read the wiki first. Where is it? There it is. Boom. All right, Nightbot, perfect. Boom. Wiki. Boom. Nightbot. So nice to have. Cool. So now we got that. We got boom. Amazon still giving it up. Apple making a nice move, so that one looks good. Nvidia, we're plumbing a little bit here, and that's okay. Hood trying to hang around, and the nukes not doing great here. So let's see. Let us see. UPS hanging around here. Let's see if the market can turn. Let's look at the internals. VIX still climbing. MAG still dumping, and RSP not getting any real level of support. You have a pivot point here. We'll see. Has room to continue down because look where standard deviations are. You have big cloud line coming in. It looks like you have second standard deviations and first here for the mags, so that's kind of interesting. We'll look at the rest of the internals. Semiconductors still weak, now below, trying to do the gap fill here too a little bit. Comms still weak. Tech trying to do this gap fill dance a little bit too. Look at financials getting pounded. IWM, gap fill, and then some. Yeah, unable to find support so far. Consumer staples kind of turning, which doesn't surprise me. You have, we're at highs here. You have some fears coming in. Costco is one of them that's kind of doing better. Let's see here what Apple can do. And so we'll just manage these positions since we're in them already. Amazon, Hood, Apple. All right. Well, we want the market to find some support here. And if not, then we'll have to make a call on some of these long positions. Lottos on a Thursday can kind of be nice, right? Because what does it do for you? It gives you the opportunity to take a trade that's not 0 DTE. So Theta doesn't like F you over as bad, but it's still ticking. And if you're taking Lottos, it better be sized appropriately. And you better be willing to accept the risk associated with it, where it could end up being a 100% loss. Anyways, what have we not done in a while? We haven't jumped into any mindset discussions. Usually we save those for Fridays, but I'm going to be busy tomorrow, so that's probably not going to happen. With that in mind, I probably need to exit some of these positions. Totally forgot about that. I'm going to be busy tomorrow. All right, well, we will start to make a call on some of these positions then. So we'll set some limit orders in place here. Apple, like I said, just try and get high day here. That would be good enough. 200 test would be phenomenal, but high a day would be good enough. I'm gonna have to make a call on these guys, and now at this point it looks like I might take a small loss on them, so that's not ideal. We do have out till next week, but the problem is SMR earnings. So we'll have to decide on that. I like UPS here still, and yeah, CRM. I mean, look at this thing, dude. So annoying, and right to the levels that we were talking about too. Right to the levels that I had drawn. I knew the daily was weak, and I saw the strength coming in at the end of the day and some of the consolidation, and I was like, I don't really need to be short here. And look what happened. Yep, that would have been a nice winner. That would have, right now it's up. $2.50 per contract. I had 10 contracts. Yeah, woof. All right. Walmart bouncing here a little bit. Deck getting a little bit of a bounce. Is that because the market's putting in some support? No, not really. All right, maybe a little support coming in here. You want to see VIX coming down. Things are curling a little bit. Not really semiconductors, so NVIDIA I don't expect to be doing great here. We'll see. But NVIDIA is in like pure just buy the dip mode, right? There's so much FOMO associated with NVIDIA. It's crazy. Ugh. All right. Who's got anything else? Otherwise, I think we'll just wrap it there. It's a good day to come back. I haven't streamed for I don't know like 2 weeks or so. Trading's been pretty good, so I want to keep it going. You know what? What I will do is I'll show my my results for July because I like to lend some credence to my performance. Hold, please. All right, so for June, we'll go way back. For June, about a 70% win rate, 68, 69%, but I did 15K, so felt pretty good about that after having, I think, a tough May. Can't remember. I would have to look again. For July, we improved a bit. Or maybe we didn't improve. Took a lot of trades in July. I guess I didn't improve. There you go, 60% trading win rate, but did 23. Felt pretty good about that. And then for August here, so far, pretty hot. Looking pretty good. It's only been a week. So yeah, we're looking good. We're doing all right, and we're doing that by making sure that our losers are trying to be minimized as best as possible, and that our winners we let run a little bit and we add. So I mean, you guys can do the math, right? In the last 2-3 months, like about 50 grand. 2 months and some change. I mean, I can just do 3 months. Let's see what last 3 months is. Yeah, last 3 months we're at 55. On a 65% win rate. The profit factor doesn't even matter to me at this point. The profit factor is important. It shows that you guys can really like grind out some of that. But as the sizes get bigger, you're not as concerned about like these like home run trades. You're looking for these singles. You're looking for a good day trade off of the bottom or off of good support off the bottom of a SPY or transversely shorting off the top. You're looking for these good day trades where you can get a good single in and take a nice win. And that's how you continually take good wins and earn a living. So Yeah, I agree. It's a little sleepy, but there's a ton of rotation in here. Whether that's good or bad, like I mean, the rotation is uh is definitely interesting. But it gives you opportunity. And if you see something like this, and so much of it is newsy too, right? Yesterday, of course, some of it was lucky, but someone knew something about Apple with all the volume that was coming in yesterday. Like, couldn't have been more obvious that someone knew something. Well, Amazon as well, nice bounce. This was an actual like standard breakout. It's still holding these levels despite what the market's doing. So we'll just sit in this. We've got time in this. But that shows you, right? You have good opportunity. CRM short. Yeah, I mean, dude, it looks great. It looks phenomenal. It's so weak. And you saw it, like we saw it even here on Tuesday, making a new relative low in the gap. Like, dude, it's annoying for me that I puked out of that because that would have been another nice trade, another nice win. And that's all it is, right? You have to keep stacking W's, whether they're these like standard W's for you, which is like a 20% win for me on an options trade, or a couple of home runs that you can mix in there that you can take some good wins. That's how you kind of like build a good body of success. So we'll see. Robinhood made a new relative high here, but the market is really just dragging us here, right? See this, so weak. VIX continuing to creep up, the MAGs continuing to creep down, IWM continuing to creep down. We need to see support come in here. So I think we'll probably call it here. Witten, awesome to hear, dude. Glad to hear that this is helpful. That's why I do this. I don't make any money on this. It's for fun, but also to kind of showcase how you can do this yourself, but also how you can, try and emulate some of the top traders in RDT and one option, right? There's some good traders out there. Obviously, Harry, Pete, great market reads, great discussion. You got Dan, you got a lot of these other guys, but you can keep it fairly simple and you can keep it on just standard RDT trades. You don't have to do all these like crazy spreads and other things. But the other thing that you might notice is like I have conviction in my positions, and when I take a position, I'll put some size on relative to what you guys consider size because I know a lot of you guys are shares traders. But if you're only making a couple $100 here and there, and like, is that really worth your time? I don't know. You have to ask yourself that question. So like I said, let's see what the market does here for the rest of the day. It's not looking great. Gap fill potential still for QQQ. SPY already has filled the gap, so you would like it to really find some support here. We could look back at ES. It's now testing this next level. A bunch of levels in here, so hopefully there's some support. 6364, 6361, 6358. All of them historically have been, and you have a big pivot point here. Like to me, one standard deviation, this should be some support. And Apple still RS. Like we said, we want to see a test here. So how much room is here to the 200? Less than 1%. Like from my Lotto perspective, what's up right now, I feel like that's a possibility. I feel like it's a big possibility that Amazon could retest high day here if the market gets legs. I feel like Nvidia could do the same thing, although dumped out a little bit because of the weakness in SMH. But you got to keep an eye too on some of this news, and we know that a lot of the bad news for SMH and for semiconductors already came out last night, and that's how we got some of this big bounce for whatever reason. Is there some reality setting in? Hard to say, but we know that there are certain companies that are exempt from that. Nvidia is one of them, and we know what Nvidia is to investors and retail and FOMO. I mean, look at Hood, still looks great. Oklo really dumping out. We don't like to see that, and NNE kind of annoying here too. So might have to kind of take some break even here today with some of these trades if I decide to scratch Oklo and NNE before SMR. But I think SMR also has a pretty big flow going into it, whether that's just earnings degenerates making a trade or not. It doesn't look nearly as good as the other ones. Have they always beat? No, they had a big miss last year. They beat this. They're pre-revenue. I don't know, man. A miss wouldn't surprise me here. So we'll have to make that decision on Oklo and NNE here. Rejection of UOP there definitely hurt. We weren't keeping as close to tabs on it as we maybe could have. All right, well, let's call it there. Everyone have a good day. I'll be in the Discord for a little bit, but otherwise I'll be managing these positions and trying to take some gains here and then go from there. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.